I think I'm a better player now. Like I said, the injuries this season haven't helped at all. But like I say, mentally, physically, I'm in a better shape than I was then. And I just want to kick on now. And like I say, with Sheffield United, I want to repay Sheffield United Football Club, the fans, which have been absolutely amazing with me. And I can't thank them enough.
Do you have flashbacks, Ched, about the time in court when the verdict was delivered and you were sent to prison?
Yeah, so, like I said, that's stuff that you can never really forget, but you keep at the back of your mind. It's always going to be there. But like I said, the right verdict come out in the end, and for me now, first and foremost, is football. And getting back on the pitch and performing well.
Do you ever think of those 2.5 years? I'm sure you do. How did you get through it?
Just one day at a time, really. It was very difficult. More so difficult coming out. Obviously, the pressure on me and my family and friends and stuff. It wasn't particularly nice. But like I said, we just got through each day at a time. And eventually we got there 4.5 years down the line.
Because all of a sudden, from having been inside, you were suddenly a free man, and it was Ched, right, on you go, out you go, almost pushed out, get on with your life.
Yeah, obviously when they got the not guilty verdict, I'd been living with anxiety for 4.5 years, thinking where's my life going to go now, what's going to happen with the uncertainty of my future. Not just football, my personal life, and then obviously getting the verdict, and then it was like, right, just be normal, get back on with your life now. Like,
exactly,
you've got what you deserved, and I found that really mentally tough. Just that transition of one day you was a convicted rapist, and then the next day everyone's just kind of forgot about it, and you just have to get back on with your life.
But are you constantly reminded of what happened? And I mean, when you play, do you hear it in the crowd? Away games?
Obviously at away games, away fans particularly. Not at all stadiums do I get abuse, but it's probably say 70% of stadiums there'll be fans shouting stuff. And
what do they shout?
Obviously the favourite ones, you're rapist, this, that. And personally, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. But like I say, you go anywhere else in the country or whatever, and you've got somebody screaming and shouting them sort of horrible words. It's not really normal. But after 5 years of absolute abuse and scrutiny, I'm back where I belong, and that's playing football. So people screaming and shouting at me is nothing compared to me playing football.
They wouldn't do it anywhere else. I mean, if you're sitting in the theatre on a Friday night, somebody 2 rows back is not going to shout what you're getting at a football match.
No, it's quite unbelievable, to be honest. And like I said to you, I've been at football games and I've heard people shouting stuff, and you kind of it's a surreal moment, because there's nowhere else publicly you would go and shout such vile, horrible comments to somebody and potentially think it was either funny or even acceptable. But like I said, football brings out emotions in people which you can understand.
Living your life now, Ched, as you do, an innocent man, as I stress, do you still have feelings of bitterness in you about what happened?
Not really, no. I didn't believe anger or bitterness was going to help me in any way, so it was kind of just getting on with it and being happy for what you've got. And like I said, football is a very short career, and I've got the rest of my life to live after football, and to live with anger and bitterness would be absolutely worthless.
It's great to hear that positivity. So on the footballing front, it would be a dream to go up with Sheffield United, would it not? Make the playoffs and go up.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate prize for me and the club and the lads at Sheffield United and all the staff. Like, if you look at the team we've got, and you look at the ambition and how well we've done this season, it's still not an unachievable goal. We're just off the playoffs, so like I say, I think we've got 8 games left, and it'd be a dream to get promoted with Sheffield United into the Premiership.
When I speak to anyone about Ched Evans, the footballer, a lot of people say to me, I tell you what, this guy can play. Now you can. So now you're back, and now you have great ambition still within the game, don't you? You have great self-belief. Is it your belief that you could play for a top club in the Premier League yet? And is it your hope that you win more Welsh caps under Ryan Giggs?
Yeah, I'd love to be selected for the Welsh squad again, and I'd love to play in the Premier League. When you're talking about ambition, like I say, when you spend so long out the game doing what you love doing, you do take for granted everyday training and games you've missed. But for me, the ultimate goal would, like I say, get back to scoring ways, get a good pre-season in me, and hit the ground running pre-season. And I'm especially confident in my ability as a footballer to score goals and as a striker.
When you look back on it now, some of the headlines at the time, they must have been very difficult to take then. I mean, you were given an extremely harsh time of it by many members of the media. When you look back on it now, how do you feel about it?
Obviously, looking back to when I first come out, some of the headlines were absolutely vile, which was really upsetting, because you know people like your mum, your nana, like all your family and friends are driving past the petrol station, the news agents, social media, and my face is on the front of the paper with an absolute vile headline. To then just one day being acquitted by 3 High Court judges, to then running a retrial, to then getting a not guilty, to then absolutely nothing, quiet, like radio silence. It was really good for me in a way, because that's all I ever wanted. But in a way, it was like, why aren't you putting this on the front page now? Why aren't you making a song and dance about this? But like I say, after a while, it wears off, and like I say, for me personally, I want to be on the back pages. That's
of course
that's the goal.
And the thing at that time as well, Ched, was you knew what you did, and you knew what you didn't do, and you knew that you hadn't committed rape. Yeah,
definitely. And like you say, maintaining your innocence throughout the whole thing, the whole scenario, was as in prison. If you maintain your innocence, basically you're living the worst life. You get treated the worst. So for the 2.5 years, I maintained my total innocence. And then when I got out, I carried on, and people were saying, why don't you just say sorry? A lot of media reports covered if he just said sorry, then he could get back on with football. And obviously apologising for something you didn't do would be a sign of guilt, which is not me. I'm not guilty. So just for me personally, I just think getting back on with your life, staying out the papers, and like I say, being on the back pages is what I want to do and where to be.
Do you feel a bit of relief today, speaking to me about it at last?
Yeah, obviously I've not spoke to anyone about this previously, and it is nice to be speaking as an innocent man, under no pressure whatsoever, really, compared to the pressure I've been under. Like I say, it's definitely something that I needed to do.